Okay, good afternoon. While I'm still on the subject of pilot watches, I was a bit peeved yesterday, having cobbled all that watch together, which was quite good. I was quite impressed. It all went together quite easily. But what really got me was I couldn't put the back on. The back was impossible to get back on, and like I say, I have to take it to the shops. I was going to go in the shops today, and I couldn't be bothered. I'll take. It's in my coat pocket. I'll take it in next time I go in, and I'll get that done. New glass put on. There we go. And I was thinking overnight. Because I've got that rotary watch in the box. It stopped working. I put a new battery in it, and it just stopped working. Anyway, I've been doing a bit of research today on the rotary watches, because that particular one I had for years and years, and it was really comfortable. It was a black ceramic rotary, and all right, the bezel on it wasn't very good. You couldn't see it very clearly, and it was reflecting everything all the time. So I could have done to swap the bezel out, but other than that, it was a really good watch. So I'm thinking to myself, well, how much are replacement movements for those things? So I went on the Rotary website and had a look, and went on Amazon, and apparently they're Japanese movements. They're quite small, and you can replace the movement. I think Amazon was listing them at something like, well, it was under £10. They varied in prices in different sites, but you have to find exactly the right movement. I thought to myself, wow, I've had an idea. If I got hold of, because one of the famous Rolex watches is the GMT watch, and I thought, well, for a pilot watch, if you had the GMT feature, the extra finger, because as a pilot, no matter where you are in the world and you're filing a flight plan, you have to file it in GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, or UTC they call it these days, Unified Time Clock, and that is the time at Greenwich. So if you're taking off in Japan, for example, you've got to give them the time in GMT. You don't give them the time Japanese local time. That's not how it works. Everything's in GMT. So as a pilot, no matter where you are in the world, you think to yourself, what time is it in GMT? So I can see the GMT feature on the watch being really good, because that stays on GMT the whole time, irrespective of where you are, and you've got your watch set to local time. That's great. You don't need any stupid stopwatches that do tenths of seconds and things like that. You don't need that. That's really, I mean, if you're into F1, I'm told F1, the whole thing is lap times, and seconds count. Tenths of seconds may even count at times, but I'm not into Formula One. This is not what it's about. So the best thing, I don't need that kind of stopwatch. I just need the bezel, so I can set the bezel on a minute hand, and I can count 15 minutes. For example, you've got a plane, you've got a tank in one wing, you've got a tank in the other wing, and they don't run off both tanks at the same time. Some aircraft do, some don't. So you switch to that tank, okay, and 15 minutes later, you switch to that tank. And the bezel is the perfect way for doing that. Perfect. You time your whole flight from the bezel. You can do loads of things. I time all kinds of things. Even when I sit down to order food in the restaurant, I'll set the bezel. So I like that feature. I want that feature for timing anything I need to time. So the bezel is a big plus. Like I say, I really don't need the stopwatch feature on a watch. So a basic watch for me would probably come in a diver's case, because I'd want to be able to go swimming in it. I probably wouldn't go swimming in it, but if I forgot to take it off, it's not going to die. It's not going to steam up on the inside and die like Seiko's Seiko Pilot watch. I bought a Seiko Pilot watch once. That was rubbish. Never again. Anyway, I like numbers all the way around on the dial, and I've said this before. All the divers' watches, even the Rolex GMT, does not have any numbers. It's got spots, and it's got lines instead of numbers. And I like the numbers because I'm an old-fashioned pilot, and I like the black dials with the white numbers all the way around, and they're nice and clear. I like nice and clear fingers. And so that's what I want with the bezel. And very, very few people do it. You get the bespoke designer watches that do it, but you've got to pay £1,000 nearly. You know, the cheapest ones are in their hundreds. And I was looking at some rotaries today, and they do them. They don't have the same. They don't have the bezels. Nothing ever is right for me. You know, I want to say, right, I want that watch. I want the face swapped out. I want the different bezel. Get rid of the bezel. Change the bezel for this and change it for that. I want different strap. And I'm going back to rotary. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to dig that rotary watch out, and I'm going to see what I can do. If I need a new movements, because I think the movements had it, but it's a Japanese movement. They're really good. They're really reliable. They last a long time, and when you need to replace them, they're not expensive. So I'm probably going to go back to the rotary. I'll still get the Timex done. I'll get the Timex done, but the big hurdle with that is the back. The back let me down so badly because it wouldn't go back on. So the rotary unscrews. You just unscrew it. Oh, as it comes. And you think, wow, that was easy. It's got a nice crystal on it. It's a gorgeous watch. I've only stopped wearing it because it doesn't work. So I'm definitely going to go and see if I can get a GMT movement for the rotary watch, and I'm going to see if I can get a replacement bezel, one that I can read much easier. It hasn't got numbers all the way around. That's the only thing I don't like about it. It's got a couple of numbers and a couple of spots in between the numbers. So it's got some numbers, not all. So that's the face has let it down really. But I may be able to get different rotary faces. This is the thing. I've been on to rotary. I want to see if they do bespoke watches, shall we say, that you can say, I like all three features you've got, but you've got three features in three different watches. I want those all three features in one watch. Can we do that? Is that possible? I don't know. But I'm still going to do the Timex. I'm going to take the Timex in, get it done, and we're going to test run it and see how it works. See if it's because it's dead cheap. You can't get cheaper than a Timex. And Timex are good watches. I'm not knocking Timex. I've had Timex for years. Normally, when they die, I just toss them in the box. I had a Vostok automatic Russian watch, which had the spec. I liked it. It had the bezel. It had the nice face, the nice fingers, and it was automatic. So I thought the battery's never going to run out. It's going to last forever. And of course, in the COVID, when we all got locked down, I just took it off and put it on the side. And of course, automatic watches stop. So I had to wind it up and put it down. And I think I have to remember to wind it. And I must have overwound it because it stopped. So I much prefer the battery. And I think the answer to this, because if I pop the back off the Timex, I never get it back on. Put the new battery in, and then you can't get the back on. So the rotary seems to be a better design because I can unscrew that, change the battery, screw it back up, boom, I'm done. So I'm thinking rotary now, and I'm thinking GMT movement. So that's where I'm coming from at the moment, and I've been toying with that idea all night, thinking, you know what, I think that rotary is a better watch. So I'll probably finish up with a couple of Pilot watches at the end of the day, and I can review them and I can say which ones actually worked out the best and which ones didn't. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. So like my background, by the way, this is my green screen. This is my Harrier AV8 at the Baron Flying Club in, I was going to say Biggin Hill then. It's Manston in Kent. I just took a screenshot from the flight simulator. So this is a Hawker Harrier that I'm sat in. I've got some other aircraft that I fly regularly. And like I say, if you're whizzing around the world, even in VR, you still need GMT. You still need to work your mind on GMT for flight planning, because that's the proper way to do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.